here. So we go straight to Miriam Cates.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Following the science is an attractive, even comforting idea in a time of uncertainty. But, and I say this as a scientist, we can no more follow science than we can follow history. Science gives us knowledge and understanding, but it can't give us wisdom. And it's wisdom that we need to make what are essentially moral and political decisions about how we balance the short and long-term best interests of our whole society. I'm saddened that we have lost, I hope only temporarily, this sense of balance. Preventing death from COVID seems to have become the principal purpose of our national endeavour, no matter the cost to our way of life. We've placed insufficient emphasis on the terrible long-term consequences of lockdown, from poverty, unemployment, lost education, debt, undiagnosed cancer, loneliness, hopelessness and fear, and focused far too narrowly on just one set of metrics, the daily COVID data. Now, even the most hardened libertarian would accept that in a national emergency, in the face of significant threat to life, restrictions to our freedoms have been necessary and right. But with all vulnerable people now having been offered vaccination, the balance of risk has shifted. COVID is no longer a substantial threat. The average COVID mortality for June so far is 7 deaths a day, 7 out of around 1,500 daily deaths that we could expect in normal times. The number of people in hospital now stands at 1,177, some 37,000 fewer than at the peak in January. And thanks to the incredible efficacy of our vaccination programme, it's hard to comprehend how our hospitals could quickly become overwhelmed. The idea that we are still in a state of emergency just isn't supported by the evidence. And yet significant legal restrictions on our basic freedoms are to remain, even dictating how many of our family and friends can visit us in our own private homes. The restrictions we face are now out of proportion to the threat, and so extending the measures sets a dangerous precedent. Madam Deputy Speaker, we must learn to live with COVID in the way that we live with so many other risks. Vaccines will never be 100% effective, just like seatbelts, smoke alarms or contraception. But it's vital to our autonomy and our identity as human beings that we're able to make our own choices and our own evaluations of everyday risks, as has been the norm in our country for generations. Now, I have the greatest respect for ministers who've had to make unimaginably difficult decisions over the last year, but now is the time to restore a sense of balance and proportion and fairness, and to make a return to life in all its fullness. And in my final seconds, I want to say this: childhood should be a time that is carefree, and testing our children twice a week, making them wear masks when they are not at risk, constantly reminding them that they may be a danger to people that they love, is damaging them psychologically, and we have to stop.